Here's what I know. If you don't, and I enter your zip codes, you're losing. Okay? That technique, grabbing all those Post-it notes and stamping it over and over and over, and if you have kids, just be like, stamp this or you don't eat today. Drive for dollars, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a picture of the house. We're going to add it to your machine, which the team's going to show you tomorrow. We're going to add it to your tracking system, also your Property Scout tracking system, because it gets it ready to be skip trace and does all these fun things that take you hours to do. So right out of the gate here, as I'm teaching you today, we've already put some things in place to make you more efficient, okay? And then here's one that we're going to do, which I've talked to probably half of you about. Here's what you're going to start doing. So pay attention. Whether it's you as a CEO or whether it's the army of bird dogs that are going to go out in the areas you tell them to and bring in properties that need work, we are going to tag every freaking door. Okay, we're going to tag every freaking door to get them to respond to us. The game here, while you're here, this is just one little piece of what we're going through this weekend. You're here to get people to respond to you on good potential leads. A house that needs work, you need to talk to them. So what are we going to do? We're going to tag their door. I've tested 200 variations of door tags over a 6-year period, and there's 2 waiting for you inside the blueprint that we'll talk about this weekend. I'm going over one of them with you right now. You're going to, it's one of the easiest to do items you'll ever do. You're going to walk into Office Max and say, hey, can I get an ink stamp made the size of a Post-it note? And they're going to say, yes. So Gary, you're going to go in and grab every freaking Post-it note in the store because we're going to turn them into weapons. And they're going to say, well, what does it need to say, Richard? They're going to say, hey, Richard's going to tell them, hey, it needs my phone number on it, and I need the ink stamp because I'm going to stamp every Post-it note and turn them into weapons while we're out and tag doors. It needs to say my phone number, and it needs to say, hey, call me about your neighbor. Because what happens when you get home? Hey, BJ. Told you I was going to pick on you. BJ's like, seriously, dude? BJ, when you get home and there's a note on your door that says, hey, call me about your neighbor, what do you typically do? You're probably going to call, right? He said yes. And I already know that versus, hey, Jason, I'm sophisticated. This guru taught me. Grab this list and postcards and letters and be consistent and do some text message blasts, and that's all they taught you, right? Here's what I know. You sending out postcards and letters, you get a 1% response rate. I know if you start tagging doors, you're going to get anywhere from an 11 to 18% response rate, which destroys direct mail efforts. Do you see how right out of the gate we can start doing this at a higher level of sophistication? So BJ, here's how it's going to go down. So BJ would call me and go, hey, yeah, I'll pretend I'm Richard since I said Richard put the note on the door. BJ would call him. Richard would say, hey, BJ, what address? Because I put that on 2 houses, whether you put it on 100 or not. I put that on 2 houses. BJ would go 123 Candy Lane. And now Richard knows what address it is. And Richard's going to say this because Richard's been a trained assassin because he's been through the blueprint. It took me months and months, if not years, to figure out the best verbiage flow. That's why you're here. I said it's not just teaching you a technique, it's the flow, right? So Richard's going to say, hey, BJ, so look, I talked to a homeowner 2 streets over about a house, and they said that your street might be a good street to talk to homeowners about potentially buying their house just the way it sits. So thank you for calling me back. Hey, whether you want to sell now or 10 years from now, I'd be interested in talking to you about buying your house and leaving you with the contract. I just need 10 minutes to see it. Is there a good day this week, next week? I really appreciate you calling me back. Everything that I just said takes 12 seconds. That hard? Nope. That's just doing it 4 or 5 times and then it rolls off your tongue just like it did mine. Remember what I said? Do not forget where we are. Here's what happens. You start getting good information. You're like, I'm watching faces here like, without even saying anything, I know that will work, right? You don't even have to test it out yet, right? I see you giggling. Fuck, I know that will work. Shit, I don't have that in place yet. Well, here's what I know. If you don't, and I enter your zip codes, you're losing, okay? That technique, grabbing all those Post-it notes and stamping it over and over and over. And if you have kids, just be like, stamp this or you don't eat today. I don't know if food's the compensation, however you want to do that, right? However you want to get them to do that for you to turn those into weapons. We are going to tag every freaking door because I know you're going to get a much better response rate. Because you've been taught your whole life, When you get a note on your door that says, hey, call me about your neighbor, two things happen. Doesn't it, Gary? Two things. You're like, I wonder if my neighbor's okay. And then secondly, which most of us do, I'm in that. When neighbor's talking shit about me right now. Like, I know a Sally 3 doors down. Sally's talking shit on me again. Oh, I need to call and find out. So because their brain does that, that means you did a marketing technique that wins the freaking game. You got them to respond versus the 24 postcards that say, I need to buy one more house this month and I love your area. Or you're sophisticated, hey, you send a third postcard, final notice to talk to me about your property. Yeah, we have somebody shaming themselves over here. I've done that. And I'm not saying that it doesn't. Here's the problem, okay? Here's what we're solving right now. I want you to know what we're solving. There's nothing wrong with that other stuff I just mentioned. But when they've already got 15 of those, your third final notice doesn't mean shit to me. Right? They've already got 15 of those. They're like, let me throw that in the final notice bucket. I'm teaching you a higher level of sophistication from the standpoint of I know in 100+ cities that I'm going to get a better response rate. It's all about getting somebody to respond. Here's the fun part about this too. When they call you, Tom, you've removed them from your marketing budget. Everybody get that? You've removed them from your marketing budget.